We are live.
All right, welcome in. Welcome into another week of Cut Ups. I'm one of the co-hosts, Darnell, with my main man Toski here. Um, I hope everybody is having a great bye week. Shout out to Michigan going undefeated on the bye. I think I told the chat, Toski, we like to call this improvement week. So hopefully, from everything we heard from the press conference with Sharon, that's what they took this week to be as improvement week. So hopefully we get some much needed improvement on the drops and some of the stuff we saw um, that was plaguing us in that Nebraska game. Hopefully they improve on that.
Yeah, I think Sherman Moore had talked about there's a couple guys coming through for the wide receiver room. Obviously, there's a lot of improvement to be made there. You can't lean on your tight ends all day, every day. So hopefully get some improvement on that. And then, usually I would wait until later in the year to say this, but this is a good timing for the bye week from a health standpoint. Quite a few injuries this year. And, having this week early on to get right injury wise and just get some rest, I think it was much needed. So good timing there. Yeah, so I'm excited. I think Wisconsin is about the type of team that you want to come off of a bye week. They're not a complete pushover, but they'll challenge Michigan's run game especially, and I think it'll be a good game to get Bryce Underwood back into the feel of things after, I'd say a couple quieter weeks in general. But
yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I'm bringing up the analytics for us right now, but I believe I saw a stat today. Wisconsin has the number one rush defense. Now, that can be a little bit deceiving because maybe teams just say the heck with it and they just pass because their pass defense is so bad. So, they go into the week saying, you know what, we're not even going to attempt to really rush for real. We're just going to throw on them because they're so bad. But I'm going to be interested because Michigan, and as we know, this team we all love here in the chat, we are going to press the envelope when we run the ball. We don't care if it's your strong suit. We feel like us running the ball is our strong suit. So it will be a little interesting to see how that goes and how we look. It'll give me a lot more confidence for the next week's opponent, the following week, which will be USC.
Yeah, this is USC is like a pretty solid team. Like I think they're worthy of a top 25 ranking. I know did they just drop out of the rankings?
Yeah, they just dropped out from a loss to Illinois.
But yeah, they are they're definitely a team to continue to watch, especially their offense. But I think for Wisconsin, the number one thing I'm looking at here is how does Michigan continue on the ground game? And here, let me share. I have some stats here that we can throw on the screen here as we talk about it. Let me see. No, not just me. I kicked you out there. Sorry.
They don't need to see me. They don't need to see me.
That's okay. We can throw this up here. Let me zoom in a little bit. I need to as well.
And guys, we do have everything working. I know y'all was asked about Super Chat. We will get your questions answered. If you want to drop the Super Chat, perfect. If not, you still want to ask your questions, I will be monitoring the chat and we'll get to as many questions as we can. We just don't want to extend it out with a bunch of questions, but please ask your questions. But go right ahead, Tyson.
Yeah, so this chart is from Parker Fleming. You can follow him on Twitter or go to cfb-graphs.com. Really great graphics. He's an excellent analytics guy. He puts these graphics together. That's a really good kind of full picture of what you're looking at in terms of what are the teams good at, what are they not great at here. So obviously, advanced stats only kind of give you a sense of how the game might go. This projected points for Wisconsin is higher than I would expect. We'll watch some of the Alabama film, the Maryland film, and really Wisconsin's only touchdowns in those games came in true garbage time. I think they scored against Maryland. They were down by 24. They scored with like 30 seconds left in that game. And they were down big against Bama as well. So it's it's a little bit surprising to see that, 15 points there from Wisconsin. But you can see the main thing I'm looking at here is like the Wisconsin defense versus Michigan offense. This is really where you're kind of the strength of both teams at this point. And yeah, so it's going to be an interesting look. And the other side of this story is Wisconsin's offense just looking really, really rough on pretty much every metric here. The only metric they have really that's in the positive is their field position and third and fourth down success. So outside of that, Michigan's defense should be able to pin their ears back and really get after the quarterback on what is a really, I'll say, to put it nicely, a challenged offensive line for Wisconsin. Coming into the season, they had a big injury, I think, to their starting left tackle. Their center went down. They already had pulled their initial left tackle, who gave up, I think it was 2 sacks and 5 QB pressures to Miami of Ohio. So they already pulled him after that first game. They got a couple guys who just don't look like they're great at the center position. And now they're trying to bring that initial left tackle back into the center position. So they're all over the place on their offensive line. We'll get to that in the film shortly here. But, I mean, it's hard to do anything well unless you have some guys at the offensive line, whether you're looking to pass, whether, trying to establish the run. It's really tough to get anything going with that. So to me, that's what stood out the most, where it's like it's hard to even get a sense of their skill positions or quarterback when they're kind of running for their lives and not getting much blocking up front. I don't know if you had any other thoughts here before we start to dive into the film.
Yeah, I agree. When I first saw the initial points, that's about 15 points if you round it up. So you're talking about a touchdown and a couple field goals. I definitely can see that. What I want to see is when you play a team like this, when you're clearly better than, are you going to go out and finish this team and dominate this team early, right? Yeah. This should be this is a perfect week for Michigan to get back in the groove off of a bye before you have to travel out west and play a team that you're more equally matched to, right? Yeah. Talent-wise.
Yeah.
And so I love that. Yes, USC is on a bye this week, but Michigan is playing a good tune-up game. We should be able to go out there, handle business, button up. Into the third quarter, we should be looking around at our screens like, okay, are they going to pull Bryce? I mean, they up 37 or 35-14. The game is really much out of reach. Let's start pulling some of these starters and get healthy for that West Coast trip, because we will need a full team going out west. So right. We can definitely get into the film. I looked at these numbers beforehand, and I mean, I kind of echo the sentiments that you said. Michigan should really be able to handle business and get things taken care of.
Let me post a link in the chat, and feel free to head over to, let's not put on to Mars there, if you're trying to get a sense of what kind of music I was listening to today.
Yeah, you guys type up Parker. He does some good work. He posts these every week. You can actually go in there and change the matchups. You can match up Michigan versus USC. You can match up us versus Ohio State. And really kind of break down the numbers. Now, is it going to be exact? Michigan's going to score 33 and Wisconsin's going to score 15. No, but it'll give you a little bit of what the analytics look like and what does the number say. So,
and I really like how you can set the away team as well, because that matters, right? Especially in a close game like this. If you flip it, it's a much different game. Like even the projected points, right? It's about a 2-point advantage here for having home field advantage. So no, it's a great site, and Parker knows his stuff. Okay. All right, let's dive into Wisconsin film. It's going to be mainly Alabama. They dropped this game. I'm going to blank on the score. I think it was 35-10, something around that.
Yeah.
38-10. But they got all the nicest term I'll say is waxed. All right, they got kind of handled here. So we'll go through the offense first, and then we'll go through the defense. So the game did not start well here. I mean, you're already in 3rd and 19. I didn't select, every positive, every negative play. I chose plays that I thought gave a good sense of what the team was bringing. And actually, give me a second. Let me get my colors in order here for Wisconsin here. We'll see what we can do. I kept the Michigan colors, so maybe we'll make a maze today. But so right away, 3rd and 19, you're already in a really negative situation here on the road, and you get sacked big time. And this is going to be a common theme. So if you're Michigan's defensive line, you're licking your chops here. And the main guy to take a look at here is 71 on the left tackle here. Again, remember in the offseason, they did have an injury to their stud. I think he was projected to be hell of a starter for them. So instead, this is Riley Mailman. I want to call him the mailman, but he is not delivering. Oh, watch out. I didn't even prep that one. All right. That was just off the cuff.
Off the cuff. Okay.
Yeah, watch out. But he just gets beat by an inside move there. And the other aspect here that I noticed is the running backs didn't impress me all that much in pass protection either. So this is something where when you have 5 guys staying in for pass protection and you keep the running back in, this leads me to believe when they're only really looking, if I'm counting numbers here from Alabama, you got 1, 2, 3, and 4 rushing. And if you're Wisconsin here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, right? So like them already keeping this guy in shows me that they're a little bit worried about their offensive line. And really both tackles kind of get beat. Not as bad on the right tackle. That's still that guy's getting towards the quarterback at about, I don't know, probably 8 yards, 7, 8 yards, which is a little, you'd rather be forcing him 10 yards, right? If 42 is trying to get upfield, you'd rather him pushed to 10 yards here instead of where he's at about 8 yards. That gets him to the quarterback, gets him flushed. But 22, the other defensive end for Alabama, he's getting way too much pressure there too quickly. That running back needs to do a better job with his eyes here. You can see his eyes are here. Air on the side of the inside. You can always get back to the outside, but he takes just one step too far outside, and the inside move for 22, he needs to be there to protect, and he's just not. So anyway, this isn't not a good look if it's 3rd and 19 and you get beat that easily on the inside. Again, defensive ends for Michigan have to look at this and be like, okay, we can get there. All right, I'm going to mute this Penn State sports talk. Put you in timeout, sir. You're more than welcome if you're another fan. We support that. But if you're coming in here talking some Penn State propaganda, you will be put in timeout. All right, just a fair warning. But yeah, so this is going to be a common theme, man. This offensive line not getting a whole bunch of protection for their quarterback. I don't really dislike Danny O'Neil. I think he's got some good things at the quarterback position for Wisconsin, but you're hard pressed to do anything with that amount of time.
Yeah, this is going to make Wink's job a lot easier if they're letting people if they let us get home with 4 Saturday, and we can just play coverage and decide coverage and still get home. It's going to be a long day at the office for them.
Yeah, that's the thing I got where it's like you don't need to be sending a ton of pressure here. Like, and we'll get to some of the mistakes. I think this one actually is a big mistake from the quarterback. That you don't need to send all your defense to get home. They're getting home with 4 here. And even if they're not, this sort of thing is going to happen. All right, let's rewind here. So one thing before we get to this pick here, Wisconsin does this a ton. When I say this, I mean all of this motion. I think they realize they probably don't have the personnel in order for them to win on offense. They're trying to create a little bit of chaos from an alignment point of view. So when you're bringing 3 guys across a formation like this, trying to snap quickly, you're trying to catch the defense out of position. And that's what I think Wisconsin's strategy is on a lot of their offensive snaps, because I see that consistently, especially against Alabama. So that's something where, you're trying to get numbers, you're trying to confuse the defense, and that's how you're trying to gain an advantage. In this case, I don't really know what Danny O'Neil is looking at here. That is, there's zero pressure on him on this throw, right? They're only sending 4 here, decent protection, and just never sees number 18 there for Alabama dropping into the flat there, right on that little curl route. So yeah, that's a rough look. So this is, to your point, Darnell, of you don't need to bring a bunch of guys in order for to pressure Wisconsin into mistakes. This is a clean look and just not seeing the full field, right? So he's the eyes for the quarterback. Looks like he's probably looking over here, trying to make sure that he's going to be taking, that he's going to be covering the curl flat area. He might be continuing his eyes out to the safety to see what that's at. But he never clocks that this guy is A, in the flat here, and B, is going to be dropping on that sort of curl route on the outside. So, and this is, again, something that I saw consistently, where just bad decision making. And it's one thing if you see a guy making bad decisions under pressure. It's another thing if he's making decisions that are seemingly not seeing the field or not not accounting for the defense appropriately. So this had me worried really early that, I was kind of going through it sequentially on the footage here. And I was like, oof, when I'm seeing this offensive line and you got the quarterback making these mistakes, it's really tough for your offense to do anything positive, to put it bluntly.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be him this week. I did read the injury report. Billy Edwards will be he's questionable, so he might play. I know that Michigan was high on him, and that was who we were planning on bringing in as Bryce's backup before Wisconsin got in and stole him from us. So
right.
You would hope Edwards wouldn't make these type of mistakes, but if it is this guy, I would assume our corners and our safeties will be licking their chops too, because he's not really paying attention to coverage. His clock is sped up. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. 2nd and 9. We're in the second quarter, down by a touchdown. Start of second quarter. And I mean, just more of the same. And this is this is almost the point where I don't want to say I felt bad for the guy, but I don't know where his eyes were here. 75, if you watch the eyes of 75, it looks like he's looking at this linebacker, but I mean, you got to pay attention to this guy coming off the edge, because 75 just never really gets deep. You can see this first step is kind of outside a little bit, like he's getting towards the sideline, but he doesn't get nearly enough depth, barely gets a hand on number 4, honestly, and he just gets straight to the quarterback. So again, I don't know what you expect anyone, even if Billy Edwards is back. I think Danny O'Neil here, he's a pretty mobile quarterback. We'll see a little bit later on the film. That's, I think, one of his best attributes, but this is really hard when you're just getting, through your first read here, maybe looking to throw to the flat here, and you're already getting tackled by a defensive end right away. So, I already mentioned some of the injuries they had and rotations they're having at the center position, but I mean that they have problems on both sides. We called out 71 here earlier, and then 75. That's Emerson Mandel, the redshirt freshman. Redshirt freshman going up against a defensive end from Bama. That's a little bit too soon for him, I think, and just didn't really stand a chance on this play.
Yeah. So,
I mean, this, when I see number 4 here coming off the edge, this looks like Jayshon Barham is ready to go, right? Like that's the sort of player that number 4 looks like, and something that I think, again, Michigan's going to be licking their chops and looking at that like, we have an advantage here. We don't need to be doing anything fancy on defense. And I promise I tried, guys, to intersperse some positive plays with the negative. There are a few positives, so there will be some things to watch. I don't want this just to be like, I'm not trying to make this into, hey, let's dunk on Wisconsin. They're just they're having some issues on offense. I can only, show what I see here. Okay, now we're at 3rd and 14. I think this is later on the same drive, just 20 seconds later. And, if it's not from the outside,
I was just about to compliment the inside, but
were you? Yeah, sorry, you can't do it. This, in terms of numbers that you need to dedicate to the pass rush, if you're not going to send more than 4, you can also get home, if not on the outside, just by some simple stunts on the inside. So that's like another aspect when you're just looping these defensive linemen like this. Another aspect is when you're rotating your center, or you have an injury at the position, it's going to be really tough to have a fresh group each week build that camaraderie, build that communication, have that feel amongst one another. So it's not just that these guys aren't capable of blocking. It's that this is the first time this specific group or this center has tried commanding this offense in general. So it's like little things like a pass off here. Like you can see the eyes for 73 right away. He's looking elsewhere. So when this defensive tackle, his job is to take out 73, have 78 follow him, and then you'll free up the other defensive end to loop around him. Little things like not having your eyes around. This is something that should be communicated between your center and guard leading into this play, but it's little things like having the eyes in the right place, right? You're not in a position now, 73, because his eyes were in the wrong place. You're not in a position for a push-off or for a handoff from 78, even though 78 is doing his best to hand off here. 73 wasn't ready for it, and that's the guy who ends up making the play. So, this might be the case of some of the reasons why they're looking for other bodies at the center position. This is Kerry Kodenko. That's the 73 here. That center. They've also had issues just with the snap. Sometimes the snap, they had a big play that went over the head of the quarterback. They lost 20 yards on like a 3rd and short or 2nd and short or something, killed a drive for them. So these are things that just can't happen, right? So having this many guys in protection and have this the result is really not what you're looking for. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just can't have that. And then I
pointed that out. 7-man protection with his chip, and they still got Steve.
Steve is back. Steve's got great takes, and he's got a great name. All right, I'm just calling it out. Calling it how I see it. The other thing, remember what I said earlier about the pass protection from the running backs. As soon as I look here as the running back, as soon as I look and I see that I have 2 guys here. Of course, one of them is, I think 86 is a tight end. He's headed out for a route. Let me just confirm that real quick. Yeah, he's running out, but he's chipping there. So having that chip, you at least got to check if you're number 6, if you're the halfback here, because this guy's at least getting help, right? So at least gain some depth here and then survey with your eyes. Just look around. Hey, is there anywhere else? And then he'd be able to identify, oh, this guy needs more help on the inside.
It's funny you bring that up. I'd have to bring the play. I made the search for it while we're going over film, but Kyron Williams had that exact thing of what you said for the Rams this weekend or last weekend when they played the Colts. Guard gets beat on the inside. Kyron has the depth. He's able to switch back because his eyes are always on the move and knock that D tackle out of Stafford's way to give him a little bit more time to throw the ball.
Yeah. And I'm okay if he wants, I think my biggest issue is it's one thing to not be scanning with your eyes, right? You should be scanning, but he's kind of resigned himself here to the only person he can help is on this right side because of his body positioning. He needs to be gaining some depth here as well. He's committed now. This is the only guy who could potentially help. He's just out of position. So even if his eyes were over here, I doubt that he'd be able to get there in time. So if you're not sure, or you got to know the playbook, right, that this guy is going out on a route here, you have to identify, hey, I only see one guy over here. Maybe I need to be getting some depth here because I'll need to be doing that scanning. So, these are little things, but especially when you have an offensive line that's struggling and a bunch of new guys because of injuries and whatnot. Those are little things that can buy your quarterback just a little bit more time. And, I think this was 3rd and long, so I get it, but there really is no option for him deep at this point. These are all routes that are still developing. This is the only guy you could potentially dump it off to. But at this point, you have a probably 300-pound 6'5" guy barreling down on you. I'd be already crumbled in a ball, so I can't really blame him for that. He's trying to dodge him. So yeah, man. I mean, it's just a consistent theme here. That when there's this many different things, if I were watching Michigan, I would be raising some alarm bells. Like, I don't know how much of this is correctable because it's in a lot of different areas. We saw it on both tackles, on the interior, lack of pass protection skills from the running backs, at least on a couple plays, right? And then quarterback making bad decision again. It's just a lot of things stacking up that doesn't make me confident that they'll be able to correct all of them. And then this was their first shot that they went deep all game here. And let me go back to the start here. We're in the 3rd quarter, 10 minutes. And this was the first ball I saw that was thrown over like 20 yards in the air. So obviously not a great sign. Good protection. I mean, you're keeping a bunch of guys in, right? You only really have like 3 guys out on a route and 1 guy headed to the flat afterwards. This is a killer because you beat him on the outside. If you watch this route, I think this is Anthony the second. Vinny Anthony, I think is his name. He does a really nice stutter, and then he goes on a fly route. And he beats his guy on the outside. This should be a touchdown. Nice little stutter there. Really cooks number 2. If that's in stride, that could be 6. But ball is underthrown. So again, I think it's a good call out, Darnell. If you have Billy Edwards, that guy can ball. So to me, for this being the first deep ball, it's one of 2 things. Either you don't trust your pass protection, which we've shown enough examples why that is a fair assessment of how the game is going. But the other thing is when you are able to beat them deep on this nice stop and go or this hitch and go, you got to be able to hit him. You got to be able to hit him there. And it's unfortunate that, you weren't able to cash in on that. So I think I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get a good sense on the skill players just because you don't have a lot of options. When your offense is struggling this much, you're not going to have that many plays where they can showcase their skills. This is a good route from Vinny Anthony. That is nice footwork there, and he's able to get going. I don't think he has excellent speed, but that is awesome. Awesome route, and just not able to complete it. So again, if it's not one thing, there's another, right? You need multiple points of execution working well for a play to be successful, and there's seemingly just a breakdown here or there, even though you have the pass protection, you have the route, and then you can't deliver the throw. So it's got to be super frustrating to be this close, finally breaking through and just not able to connect.
Go back one. I don't want to spend a lot of time, and shout out to the Ohio State fan that's in. Welcome in. Hope you enjoy the show. I'm glad that you're not here to start anything, but I'm glad you get to check out the show. Doing some scouting ahead film study for the next 2 Michigan opponents. Go. Not that. Can you show the other angle, the end zone?
Yeah,
angle?
You want the end zone? Yep.
Watch this. So their tackles. I mean, that's 75. 75 looked lost in the sauce, man.
Yeah, he did. He got beat bad.
That's he's looking around like Velma did in Scooby-Doo. Like he was like, where did he go? I mean, if that running back is not there to chip, that quarterback's getting crushed.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I mean, that is, I think usually you would pull a player after that because there's no technique here. That is a lunge, and he barely gets an arm on him, right? Because it's one thing if you stay engaged and then the guy makes a nice spin move, or you're engaged and he's able to get around at 8-9 yards, but you're engaged with him the whole time. That doesn't look competitive. Like this doesn't look like he
Yeah, Steve.
There's just no technique
at all.
They
can't kick step, and it looks like they struggle with games. It looks like the games, if you run exotic games with them up front, the tackle and the two guards look like they're inconsistently handling them, but they struggle.
Yeah. I think their guards, I haven't really paid attention all that much to their guards. I haven't seen anything bad about them. It was mainly around the center and the tackles. So I think they have at least decent guys at the guard position, but the tackles and the center, they have a lot of issues, and those are not the positions that you want to see issues. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a reason that the running back is locked in over here already, right? There's a reason that he was locked in on that one play earlier that we called out where he wasn't scanning, and there's a reason here as well. He needed to be there. Without that, he might not get this pass off. Okay, we do have a couple positive plays. All right, so it's not all negative. Main positive thing I liked about Wisconsin's offense was this tight end. I think this tight end, he is the receiving leader. I think he's number 86, if I remember correctly. And I think he had a good number of these underneath passes. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you're struggling, you're going to have to get out quick passes. You're not going to be going deep. But Lance Mason, that's this tight end, 86 here. But he was pretty consistent. His hands looked pretty decent. Just like to me, he's like a general Wisconsin tight end. He didn't drop anything. He had a couple nice plays. He looked fluid after the catch. So a guy to watch for, right? Like if you're a Michigan defender here and you're dropping out into the curl flat, that's going to be the number one read, I think, for Wisconsin offense. So I think I included this play because he's still getting pressured. Here you are sending some additional guys for Alabama. I think this guy's going to drop back, but and this guy as well. So you're bringing an exotic look. You got a bunch of guys different, looking like they're going to blitz, and they send a couple off of the quarterback's left side here. So just not enough bodies to address that. Number 3 comes flying free from I think that nickel corner position. So give credit to the quarterback for staying in there. Danny O'Neill, he's able to identify. I think he got through his second read there. And, usually you want to look towards where the blitz is coming from. That's what he does, delivers the ball, and tight end makes the catch here. So I think their quarterback, for some of the poor decision-making I called out earlier, he can take a hit and he can deliver a ball. So he has a little bit of moxie. That's kind of what you describe this kind of quarterback, when you're able to take a hit and have some wiggle on the move there. But outside of this tight end from like a receiving threat, I didn't see a whole lot outside of that one route from the wide receiver. But again, not a lot of film to get a better grasp of what they have at that position.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think Circuit City here, we haven't been the best at covering tight ends so far this season either. Yeah, that'll be something to watch. I'm encouraged. I think Jimmy Rolder and not Mason Curtis, Sullivan he's coming along, right? He's a young guy there. So I think that's the matchup, at least through the air, to watch how Michigan covers the tight end. And then the thing I like most about Danny O'Neill is his legs here. And if Michigan is going to struggle against any sort of run game here, I think it's going to be because of the quarterback here. So this is a nice cut. And I mean, this play was aided a little bit by I would call a misplay from 94. 94 completely shucks this. I think it's unbalanced formation, because I think this is a tight end that they have over here. So you see you have both 71 and 75 here. These are the two tackles for Wisconsin. You have a tight end here for Wisconsin here. He's going to be taking on 94. So it's a little bit of a mismatch. 94 does shuck him off, and 94 should be able to make the play. So watch 94 here. I'll try to move it forward, backwards a couple times. He's right there. So 94 should be able to make this play right about here. He's not able to see the play come towards him, so obviously he misses. But give some credit to the quarterback for seeing that hole, make that little jump cut, and pick up some additional yards before taking out the ref in the process. But yeah,
breaking up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me know. I'll give it a second. Testing.
You sound a little bit better. You're not as broken up.
I'm so apologize. That guys, this is the issue going on sometimes. It'll pick up in a little bit. So just coming out again if you still see that.
All right, give him a second, guys. He's gonna be right back. He'll be right back. He's having a little bit of internet issues. So we decided, like I said, of course, that we would do the preview to look ahead. So I hope everybody's getting some value out of this, getting used to understanding what the opponent is. Next week, of course, we will be breaking down the Wisconsin film, so we'll be back on schedule. And then the last bye week, we'll probably break down Maryland, Ohio State film for that bye week. But you're good now. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Sorry, it kicked me off there. Didn't like me. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, Danny O'Neal, his legs, I think, is the only way that that's really the only time I saw Wisconsin have any sort of success on the ground, and that's something they're going to have to get to moving forward as well. So it's 35-7 here. I mean, at this point, third quarter, game's kind of already out of reach, and you have another what I'll call just poor decision. This one, there's no pressure again, right? So it's just he's a little bit fast and loose with the ball here. Seems like I don't know what he's looking at here when he's looking to throw this ball. He is going back towards that tight end again, 86 here, so that seems to be a target that he's looking towards. But I mean, nothing here should tell him, hey, throw this ball right there. And generally good protection. They're sending 5 here. If you're Alabama, you got 5 here for Wisconsin in protection. This guy 22 is breaking free a little bit, but not in any way that should have affected the throw. So yeah, you'd like to see your tight end be able to get free of that a little bit. It's definitely like a physical route. I'll get to the other angle. You can see him trying to fight through that to get out there. So he kind of gives up on his own route. Not ideal. So let's go to the sideline route here. So you'd like to see him a little bit more physical with that safety, but yeah, just not a great route, not a great decision. And this is a killer, right? They're driving. I mean, at this point, again, game is kind of out of reach, but you want to see just a little bit of life, right? If not for this week, then the next week. And to be driving close to the red zone here and then throw a pick like that, that's got to be a killer. So, yeah, and it's not like there's a whole lot of options here elsewhere, right? Everyone else is pretty blanketed here. So, I mean, it's only 2nd and 6. This is one where maybe deliver here, but he's probably going to get lit up. At this point, you should probably be maybe checking backside, but this looks pretty scary. So I don't know. You live to see another down. This is just a quarterback that forces a throw, and a good play from the safety. It looks like there. So
yep.
Okay, and then I think we got maybe one more play from Alabama, and then I think we got 2 from the Maryland game. Here's another one where, I mean, you mentioned the games. This is another twist here, and just kind of lost, I think, on the offensive line. So this is, I was giving credit to the offensive guards here for Wisconsin that I hadn't seen too much misplay here, but this one, you need to be able to have your ability as a tackle to keep your eyes open, right? As you are getting your kick step, be able to be open for this sort of twist coming between these two guys. So you need the eyes, but again, what have we seen all game here? 75 getting beat time and time again. So obviously he's probably, focused, how the hell do I actually block this guy? So he doesn't have any sort of feel for this guy coming to the inside here. 78 is trying to pass him off, but the footwork isn't there. Look how much separation right here there is for 78. If you freeze on this frame, you've lost the block, right? You need to be getting more depth here. If he's trying to cut inside, that's okay, but you need to be getting some depth here as well and try to keep your hips. Maybe it's not realistic to expect you to be completely, facing towards the logo here, but maybe at like a 45-degree angle. When you're at a 90-degree angle, right? If you're at a 90-degree angle for you geometry guys, you've already lost, right? How are you supposed to recover? Even if this guy's eyes are here to pick this up, think of how hard it's going to be to accept this block, because then you need to rotate your hips all the way around. This guy has full speed. It's really tough for you to reestablish yourself here and then take on this twisting block. So because of that footwork from your guard here and this much separation between him and the defensive tackle, his hips are even more towards, like, he's facing his own end zone here, right? You're facing this way. So there's no chance that he's ever going to be able to twist and take on this rusher. So that's tough. I mean, you got two guys here on the other side for blocking. This is another case maybe where this running back is too locked in on this left side, right? Where it's like, hey, when I see this, I have three guys on this left side. If I'm number 6, this running back, if I'm trying to figure out, hey, where can I be most useful? I got 3 guys here on the offensive line for these 2 rushers, whatever they're doing. But on the right side, I have, one-on-one over here. Both tackles have been struggling all game. So this is something where, and I'll be honest, I don't have the full knowledge on how the running back and the quarterback communicate this, but if he's not going out for a route and I see this as a quarterback, I might say, hey, before the snap, motion over here, because this is more likely where you're going to be seeing an issue that we need to help. So he's just not positioned well as a running back. So even though you have 6 in to protect against 4 rushers, again, you don't have the protection where it needs to and the adjustments necessary to be able to pick that up. So again, there's concerns all over the place, right? So again, not trying to pick on players, but these are this is the film, and the film don't lie. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we're moving on to the Maryland game. Again, Maryland won this game, I think by 17. I think it was 24-7, maybe something like that. And it wasn't that close of a game. So at this point, we're in the second quarter. Maryland's already up by a pair of scores. This is a frustration play that I had to clip because going into this game, I think a couple of common things about Wisconsin. They always have a pretty staunch defense, and I always really liked their running backs and offensive line. Quarterbacks have, to me at least, always been whatever. I can't remember the last great wide receiver out of Wisconsin, but they usually have a guy at running back, and their offensive line is usually something that is relatively stout. So this play frustrated me a little bit because it's tough. And I've gone back and watched this a couple of times and thought, maybe I can excuse the running back a little bit. But so here's the play design. It's zone blocking here. Backside, you can see they're just kind of walling off. So backside here, I'll keep with the yellow for Wisconsin. Backside, there's kind of walling off here. So you got just kind of blocking the back end. I don't know why I call this zone. This is obviously a power where you have 2 guys pulling here. He's going to be the first kick out block. He's going to be coming through, taking the first guy he sees after this block. And then you're having a double here and then releasing out to this backside backer. I just switched up the colors mid-play. That's super confusing. I apologize. So main thing that doesn't happen. Blocks are all relatively getting there. If we look at the pullers, that first puller is coming in. Now 58 is committing to the inside. 58 here on the defense for Maryland has committed to the inside. So he's going to kind of pin him to the inside here. So you have a second puller. You can see his helmet here. He's going to come around here for the first guy he sees, 31. Okay, that's all good. And overall, you're getting movement here. You would like one of these guys to be coming off this block to get to number 1 here, this backside backer. Let's see how this play develops here. I'll try to go a little bit slow. And you can see the second, I think, what is this? Your left tackle here. Your left tackle is not able to get off this double of 98. He's not able to get to number 1. You can see he's completely off balance now. He fell off, and that left number 1 cleared to reach the hole here. So obviously you'd like to see your left tackle here, 71, able to, it's a good initial punch here, moves him off his place a little bit. Then you got to get off of that and get to the backer right now. You helped enough. You reestablish, right? The guard can now take him solo, get to number 1. He's not able to get there. So the other aspect of this, okay, so you're not getting that backside backer. There's still enough, I think, you get from your pullers here, 58 for the defense, or 56, 58. Anyway, this guy on the edge, he's getting neutralized from this first puller. Going to get a really good block here on 31 after that. I'd like to see a little bit more patience from the running back here. Both running backs between Wisconsin, you got Dylan Jones, Darian Dupree, both only have about 150 yards. Again, we called out the offensive line problems, but this play isn't terribly blocked. And I think you have something on the outside. Now, of course, they're not blocking like it's going to bounce the outside, right? You look at the wide receiver, you can see clearly they're doing actually a good job for something like this to be happening off of this, the inside here. You can see where the blockers are kind of pointed for this hole. So I can't really blame the running back, but a next level running back would be able to stick his foot in the ground here and recognize, hey, I got to bounce it because there's a free linebacker there. So maybe, you could say I'm being a little bit too critical of the running back, and I think I am being critical of him, but I don't know. I look at this and I'm thinking, man, maybe
if he jump cuts that,
if you jump cut outside here, then you can have something.
You could run in. Maybe 23. You'd have to kick it a little bit further out. Maybe at that point you may get your receiver caught for holding because they're not assuming it's coming way out there.
Right.
Because I'm looking at 23. He's fighting off of that block pretty well.
Yeah.
So maybe you go on the outside of 4.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? I might be splitting hairs here, and ultimately it's that tackle who needs to get to the linebacker. But there weren't like a whole lot of runs I saw where the running back made a great cut. So I think they're, in terms of the running game, I'm not worried about either one of those guys. It doesn't seem like, I get flashbacks to Kenneth Walker of like that offensive line wasn't blocking a whole lot for him, but that was a dude who could make his own blocks, right? He could find his own way. And neither of these guys stand out in a way where it's like, okay, when he's on the field, you really got to watch it. Again, it's a tough job with this offensive line, but they're fine. They're just not exceptional backs. Okay. All right. Last play for the offense here, 3rd and 12. And this is another example of, I think, what they'll need to do in the run game. And, I don't think he's an exceptional runner, but he's got like a pretty good acceleration. I think the other view is a little bit too jittery. So we'll stick with this sideline view. But I think you've called it out in a couple of the weeks we've done analysis, Darnell. As soon as you run your quarterback, you're gaining a number, right? You're getting a +1 in terms of the numbers against the defense. And this sort of action is something that they ran a lot of, where they have a bunch of guys in motion. I mentioned like pre-snap motion, but also at the snap, they have a lot of things that they do to try to stretch out the field, right? Get these guys running, fake this, keep the quarterback. And this is where I think they'll need to live if they want any sort of success, because they don't get great blocks. If we watch this, I think this is left tackle again right here. He falls off 29. 29 is able to get outside of that. He's able, but even though that defender beats his block, right? Because it's play action, guess what? You're home free here. So because you're able to sell this fake and you're able to occupy this many guys on the defense without any blocks, just through the eyes, you're gonna find some success here. So anyway, that's really it. Again, nothing like too special here in terms of the play call. This is what Wisconsin will need to do, because if you're struggling this much to stay engaged as the offensive line on these blocks, right? You have multiple guys being thrown off, like this guy's thrown off as well. The best thing you can do is spread them out and rely on some athleticism of your quarterback. So that's gonna be the key, is to stay disciplined and to not be burned. Not to be burned by the quarterback. And that's something that Michigan has, had a little bit of struggles with. Obviously, Mateer of Oklahoma is a different beast. But so to me, if I'm game planning for Michigan, I'm prepping most for the quarterback runs. Don't have to send a whole lot on in terms of pass rush, and maybe pay a little bit more attention to that tight end. That seems to be the primary target for Danny O'Neal. Now, if Billy Edwards is back, that makes him a little bit better on offense, but to me, only marginally, because your offensive line is going to be a really limiting factor, regardless of who's playing center.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move over to the defensive side of the ball, and this. I clipped a lot of negative plays here. So going into the season, I was of the understanding that the defensive back for Wisconsin had a lot of experience. And you may have a better sense of the numbers here, Darnell, but it seems like they've been getting cooked through the air. Now, their run defense, you mentioned, is like top of, towards the top in the country in terms of yards allowed, things like that, maybe yards per play. And I do think they have some guys in the front seven especially, but I was surprised at how many negative plays I found for the Wisconsin defense. So I don't know if you saw anything from your end on the Wisconsin defense before we jump in here.
Just that when I went back and kind of reviewed some of the film, I saw Alabama have a little bit of an issue running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, when we started, I think they looked at it and was like, okay, we might not be able to run it, but we've seen something on film that shows us we can definitely pass the ball. When you look at it by the numbers, they're bottom third of the Big Ten. Only two teams worse than them against the rush is Purdue and Maryland, who you also play.
Mm.
And then when you go and you look at it from a passing yards allowed, real quick, in your conference, and if you're bottom third in the conference, you're bottom out in the NCAA. Bottom third, they middle of the pack. When it comes to defense in the Big Ten. Let me do it this way. Yeah, so they bottom a half of the league. They've given up right at 1,000 yards. What I was going to tell you, I expect Bryce to have a game this is the type of game you expect Bryce to have, like a Malik Washington, who's in the same kind of ballpark. True freshman, highly touted 5-star. Malik Washington went 18 of 34. What's that? Almost 50% passing. He threw for 265. His average target of depth was about 7.8. And then he threw 2 touchdowns. So I'm expecting that type of game from Bryce. They won that game. That Maryland game was won 27-10. So that's kind of like what I kind of see this game being. Get out, no injuries. 27-10. Bryce, maybe a little bit more completions. I know that they said they worked on Sharon said they worked on drop passes this past week, and they worked on the tackling, which, to your point, what you just said about the mobile quarterback, we got to do a better job tackling when we're getting these mobile quarterbacks down in the backfield. So that's kind of what I'm thinking this will be. I didn't look at any of the other quarterbacks. Of course, Ty Simpson is a year older. Ty Simpson threw for 382 yards, 24 29 with 4 touchdowns. And then, they played Miami of Ohio and Middle Tennessee. But even the Middle Tennessee quarterback threw for just about 200 yards. So, they're not giving up a ton on the ground, but I don't think nobody has stressed them. It reminds me a lot of what we talked about. Well, we didn't talk about it because we didn't preview it, but I was telling people Nebraska coming into that game, their claim to fame was they had the best pass defense in the nation, right? Mm-hmm. We haven't given up more than 20 yards on a reception. We ain't gave up 100 yards. Michigan still threw 400 yards in the game. So I want to see what happens when Michigan puts stress on this defense, because Michigan is going to run the ball.
Yeah.
Be the best offensive line that Wisconsin has faced. I think even with our struggles, Michigan has a better offensive line than Bama, right? As constructed. And so I think this is going to be a test to see if Michigan can really establish that dominance. And if they can run on this defense where this is their strength, it'll make me feel a lot better about that USC game next week.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And Steve does make a good point. He says Bama has a trio of big-time receivers, not a great compare. I think this is a game where if you don't have Bryce Underwood, right, like let's take the previous year's Michigan team, terrible matchup. I still don't think it's a great matchup for Michigan's offense because of how stout they have been thus far. But to your point, Darnell, they maybe haven't seen. I don't think they've seen a better running back in the league, and I think you're right. It's up there on if this is the best offensive line they've seen. So it's a really great barometer. That's going to be like the best matchup, I think. But Wisconsin, I think, kind of forced Alabama to turn towards the pass, and obviously they found a lot of success. But Bama came into this game wanting to establish the run, and they were having none of it here. So I was impressed. I think especially with the interior of the defensive line here, but the linebackers impressed me as well. There's good recognition from number 4 right away. Able to see where this play is going. He's probably reading this guard coming across as well, but number 4 able to get off of the butt of 15 here. Fill that C gap, or was that D gap? Yeah, fill that D gap and come down fast. So the linebackers fire pretty quickly, and I think we'll see later on in this film that they have their eyes in the backfield, and that's a tendency that you can exploit. But if you're looking to establish the run, that's when you got to keep in mind and head to the play action quickly to create at least a little bit of hesitancy, because when you have a linebacker firing down this well, and looks pretty good at it too, right? If you're Alabama, you're trying to get a double 95. And these big boys, 599. And look at their weight. Just looking at them, they got some chunk in the trunk. All right, I'll put it at that. So you're looking at 75.
We lost him again, guys. So give us a second while he's able to get back in. Steve, you are right. Bama does have a big trio, big receivers. I do expect this to be a get-right game for the receivers. If you have to come out and establish those receivers, passing the ball, see if we've cleaned up the drops, because you're going to need those receivers in California next week. Next Saturday when you line up against USC. We didn't get to film in early enough for the USC-Illinois game. But I don't know if you guys watched it, people that was in the chat. USC defense might not be as for real, but their offense is pretty for real. And so we're going to have to pass the ball against USC. Receivers are going to have to catch the ball. It can't just be McCulley. Somebody else is going to have to step up. I don't know if that's Samaj. I don't know if that's Fred Moore. I don't know if that's Andrew Marsh. But somebody's going to have to come in and establish themselves as a pure number two, to give Bryce some help in that game if we want to win that USC game. I mean, you win that USC game and everything, all your goals are still ahead of you, playoffs, making the Big Ten championship game. It's an important game. So we want to make sure we're locked in for that game. And I just looked up the numbers. So Wisconsin actually has one less sack than us, right? They've got 13 sacks, so they're like middle of the pack Big Ten. So they do get to the quarterback on the pass rush a little bit. Now, I would want to go into this number and see how many sacks they got against lesser competition. But, we have 14. They have 12. USC leads the Big Ten with 17. So just some thoughts.
Sorry, Darnell. Keep leaving you off to dry here.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just telling them about the defensive numbers, sacks, and I talked about Steve's comment about the trio wide receivers. Yeah. I agree with him, but I also told him our receivers got to step up. Can't just be McCulley. It can't just 100%. Be the tight end. Somebody's going to have to step up, whether it's Fred Moore, Andrew Marsh, Samaj, somebody, because when we play better offenses like a USC, we're going to need it.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Now, I didn't come away watching Wisconsin with the thought of, man, they have a great pass rush. I did. So, I think they have some guys, but I was more impressed with their run fill. And I think that mainly came down to their linebacker play and how aggressive they were. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, they're not giving up a whole lot of ground on the defensive line either. So I made a great joke before my connection came back. I was saying how much junk in the trunk these two defensive tackles have. These guys are big boys, and they are not getting moved.
Let me see what that weight look like. What is that? 90,
95 and 94, I think. 95. What is that? Oh, we should go to the end zone view for this. 95, 99.
So 99 is Parker Peterson, 6'4", 314. And then 94 is Xavier.
Nope, 95. 95, 99.
Oh, 95 is Brandon Lane, big boy, 6'3", 322.
Yeah, some big guys there. And this is a great play from 95 here. So it looks like you're running kind of a power concept. You're actually pulling your center here for Bama. So this is a tough play for a big defense, nose tackle type here. 95 does a really good job working inside sheds here, and he's able to make that tackle. And you also have coming off the backside here, kind of a rush edge. I struggle to identify the formations, especially for Wisconsin's defense, because they run a lot of 3-3-5. They'll run up these guys who look kind of like, a safety-esque type, like a speed edge rush. He just comes flying off the edge here. So they run a lot of different looks. But 15 does a really good job coming down the line here. And you just have a bunch of people winning, right? There's not a whole lot of people getting blown off the ball. No one's really getting a whole lot of movement for Alabama. So it's this is one of those plays where I'm just like, man, I raise my eyebrows where I'm like, I don't think they're going to be getting a whole lot on the ground in this game. So give them credit. They established that defense against the run really early against Bama. So I'll give them credit where credit's due. All right, still 0-0 later in the first quarter here, 1st and 10. And this is where I saw, again, a lot of athletes for Alabama, but I saw a lot of quick options at the linebacker level here. So there's a concept, again, of covering grass a little bit here for the linebacker. So as soon as you see this guy cross your face, so this guy's doing just like a little out route. Of course, I think his zone here is this little curl. But as soon as you see that this guy's starting to make an outcut here, watch his eyes. So his eyes are on the wide receiver, right, trying to figure out where he's going. We'll move forward a little bit, just a couple frames. Now he is starting to move and look with his eyes here. But to me, he's running a little bit late, right? Like there's nothing else coming into your area here. That is your guy. To me, you should start moving now. And when I say move, I mean start to run towards this guy. So him checking his eyes over here means he's just a step late. And with the athletes here, he does make the tackle. So give credit number 4 for accelerating, making that tackle here. But he's got some separation. And from, you can accept this if this is a little 3-yard, 4-yard out here and you're able to make the tackle at the catch, right? Give him the 4 yards, whatever you'll take that if you're a linebacker there, in the open field like this. But instead, he's able to make that into, a 12-yard pickup or so. So as much as I liked number 4's play in terms of his run defense, he left a little bit to be desired there. So something to, the first thing that came to my mind here was what can Marlon Klein do against that, right? A fast tight end coming off of that could be something to watch.
Yep.
Okay, next play here. You got 7-0 Alabama at this point early in the second quarter, 1st and 10. And this is where I think you're going to make some money for Michigan. The play action. Again, look how aggressive the linebacker is. Again, not to pick on number 4. He's just the most aggressive linebacker I saw and the guy who's coming downhill fast. So, I mean, you look at everyone here for Wisconsin, at least in this front 6, these guys are biting hard. These guys are coming up and flying towards this little play action, and they're going to get bit by it, right? I mean, even number 4 is looking – he notices it's run, and now his eyes are focusing towards this tight end. He thinks this guy is coming to block him, right? So he kind of gets taken aback when this guy just continues to run through him, and ultimately that's where the ball goes. So he's in full-on it's a run play mode. His eyes are off the running back, right? He has no idea that this guy is keeping the ball. So this is something where I really like that Chip Lindsey has turned towards the play action a lot more compared to previous couple of years for Michigan's offense. And this is where I think it's really going to have to keep these linebackers honest for something like this, because number 4 is in no man's land now, right? You took on that block from the tight end here. Now the tight end is wide open. This is where he should be dropping, right? So I think clearly in the booth for, the offensive analysts or whoever's up there for Alabama, they notice how aggressive this guy's being, right? They notice that on an earlier drive. You can just deliver that over the top for, an easy 8, 9, 10 yards, and that's what they get. So, something to watch.
Does it show the down and distance and when this happened?
This is first and 10. This was like 14 minutes left in the second quarter.
So, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, y'all can hold me to it. Don't put no money on it. But I wouldn't be shocked if Michigan gets the ball and 1st and 10 is a play action pass for Bryce Under.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're probably – Wisconsin's probably looking at Michigan film against Nebraska. And they're like, hey, they don't really throw it a ton, so they're going to run it. And if these guys in the back of their mind are keying in on run, it could be a long day for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and all you need to do is create hesitancy, right? Like something like this. Now number 4 is going to be thinking, can't be coming down that hard, right? And you just buy your run game a little bit more space, because as soon as you have those linebackers keeping this play in the back of their head, they're going to be a little just a little bit more hesitant. And hesitancy in a defense is a positive thing for the offense.
Yep.
Okay. All right. 1st and 10 now. A little bit further on the same drive for Alabama here. Ball close to midfield. And what do we got? Another play action pass. This one, they just get beat flat out. So how applicable is this to your earlier point here, Steve? These wide receivers are dudes for Bama, right? And Michigan doesn't quite have that outside of McCauley. So in terms of the route, nothing too special, honestly. This guy just got beat. So decent protection. You're only sending 4 here. You're keeping 5 in, but this is about as clean of a pocket as you can get. Again, I didn't really see all that much pressure here from the Wisconsin front. But this route on the outside, this is just kind of an in route, and number 6 just gets beat. Not bad position. He's actually following that up okay. It's just a guy who's faster and just better. So he just gets beat. And then on top of that, the safety over the top, right? He's playing this right. The safety is covering. I think this is kind of like a deeper post route here for 17. I think that's his number. So he's following him, but then he just falls, right? So instead of being able to come off of this route, right, now you have a completed pass, instead of being able to react here, now you have a free lane for that wide receiver to get to the end zone. So yeah, I mean, this is I added this because this is where Alabama was able to find success. Now, how much can Michigan replicate that? To your point, Darnell, who's going to step up at the wide receiver position? That's when I see something like this, I see opportunity, right? Like Bryce Underwood can make this throw. Can he get that amount of separation, and can he continue upfield for any of the wide receivers? Maybe it'll be Marsh.
This looks like a Andrew Marsh, Kenny Bell, Freddie Moore type special. I mean, go back to the beginning of that so I can see where 5 lined up. I might have to go out to the other video. So this is if you hold it, you see this a lot in the Chip Lindsey offense. Twins out to the right with the tight end in tight.
Yep.
So that's Klein, usually McCulley, and let's call it Samaj. Samaj has to win on that route. He didn't do anything special. He let him run right past him, and then that's McCulley or Samaj running on the end route.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't walk away with this of like, oh, you got to attack number 6 or you got to attack a single guy. It seemed like they were able to kind of get what they wanted for Alabama. So I wasn't scared of any single guy on the Wisconsin in the Wisconsin secondary. But again, you need bodies, you need guys to step up and
this just reminds me of the opposite that we dealt with last week, right?
Yeah.
So last week we were highlighting before we went into that game, hey, Michigan's gonna have to move those defenders out the way because they can't stop the run. Yep. And their pass game is where they're great. And then you might have to remove that person. Yeah. And then now it's the opposite. Looks like their run game, their linebackers are pretty stout. They can scrape over and fill them holes. So now you're going to have to make sure that you can get open. Receivers, you've been asking for the ball. Catch it and let's get out of here. So we shall see.
Yeah. Okay, 1st and 10. You're up 14 now if you're Bama. Late in the second quarter, they're in their own territory here. Little play action again. And there's just a lot of space, right? Like this isn't anything too complex here. Good protection. This looks too easy. Pitch and catch, exactly what you said. But this is a deep throw, right? Like this isn't nothing. But when I see a throw like this, the first thing that came to my head is more agnostic of like, oh, in offense, I'm like, oh, Bryce Underwood can make this throw. And I'm not like, I think I'm high enough on our receivers that like they can make this route. It's a good route. Don't get me wrong. Number 2 makes a hell of a cut here. It's a deep out route, and he really does a really nice cut here beyond the 50-yard line. But he puts his foot in the ground right there at the 45, and that's a really good route. But, he's got a ton of separation, right? It's not like that route created that much separation. It's just well-timed throw and a good route. So
now, I wonder is Bama can you go from the line of scrimmage view?
Yeah.
Or not the line of scrimmage, just right there. Okay, so they're not playing crazy off. They're playing about 4 yards off the ball. Because I was wondering, maybe they're playing off because they're respecting how good of an athlete Bama receivers are. But they're not really playing crazy off. They just, they get into a back. They're playing zone, regular zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like just like cover 3, right? You're just sending sending 3 guys deep here. So really, I mean, you should have this. Like, you should have this covered. So again, it didn't strike me all that like this just looked too easy. It was like as long as you're timing this well from a quarterback perspective and a route perspective, as long as you're on the same page here, I think Michigan can replicate that. So, I mean, you're right. Is like, how aggressive are they playing? You know, are they going to take more chances against Michigan compared to, you know, are they intimidating against Bama? Maybe. But that looks like a pitch and catch on what ends up being like a 30, 35-yard gain. Okay, same drive here for Bama, under a minute to go, threatening in the red zone. And, I mean, this is one where it's just like, okay, this is just a guy for Alabama, just, you know, kind of mossing the guy. So, little play action again, though. And I think you see a little bit more hesitancy for number 4. So you do see 59 come flying up here. But you can see how much Bama is going to this sort of play action. And number 4 is a little bit more tentative here to go gung-ho on this. But, yeah, I mean, this isn't, again, not terrible coverage. He actually is in front of the slant route. So this one is more about just like I saw this play and I was like, throw it up for Donovan McCulley, right?
Yep.
If you're able to see this and you got a 6'4", 6'5" guy, Donovan McCulley, that's the opportunity. So I want to see them explore that a little bit. You know, I think in the last game we saw McCulley establish himself as the number 1 target. He was a little bit quieter in the earlier weeks. So I want to see if they can continue to utilize his skill set. And I think they'll have to in this game in a similar fashion. Okay, moving on here. We're in the third quarter, 28-7. So game is already getting a little close to out of reach here if you're Wisconsin. Bama's got a 2nd and 9 ball on the 40 here in the third. This one, I mean, this was tough from a tackling perspective. If you're Wisconsin, again, was this a good pitch and catch? Yes, like back shoulder throw, and obviously an excellent move after the catch. But I mean, the guy was falling over pretty much immediately at the catch. If you're Wisconsin here, that defensive back was really not going to be making this tackle at any point here if the wide receiver is making that cut inside. So I'd like to see both the safety and the cornerback. Like, to me at this point, I don't know, you got to break down if you're the safety. So that was my main takeaway of like, yeah, you're going to get beat by this guy, back shoulder throw. That's hard to do. But after the play, you got to mitigate this, right? You have to expect that the corner's going to at least make an initial stab at this. So I don't know why the safety here is running as quickly outside as he is, right? This is like when you have 2 linebackers attacking the same gap, right? Both of these guys are attacking the sideline here. Look at how much room there is on the inside here. If you're the safety here, your job isn't to dislodge the ball here. Your job is to mitigate. So you have to realize, hey, I have outside support here. I need to like break down and see what the wide receiver is doing, and then I can make my move. So way too committal there from the safety, and he overruns the play, takes himself out of it. You gotta slow down at this point when you see that the ball's being caught. Yeah. And then redirect. So he just doesn't do that. So, it's a couple plays. I think I was the same safety earlier on the deep in route that fell when he was trying to redirect as well. So these are plays that, generally a safety would be able to limit a play to a, 30, 35 yard pickup on a big pass. And obviously it's a bigger pickup than you want, but the difference between a 30, 35 yard pickup and a touchdown is obviously pretty meaningful. So that was kind of thing I saw consistently, at least in this game. And yes, these wide receivers for Bama are a different level, but still opportunity here to punish defensive backs after the catch. So something to watch as well. Okay, last play of the third quarter here, 35-7. So game is truly out of reach. I think this is probably the last play from this game. But this was another example of Alabama being, I think, just they must have targeted here that, hey, we like that our guys will be able to beat the defensive backfield for Wisconsin after the catch. So not a terrible job from number 0 here, this outside backer getting out and really has a chance here. But this is a big boy. This is a tight end for Alabama, and he's able to just work through that arm tackle. So you need a better attempt at a tackle here. You're not going to get 81 down here with an arm tackle.
So we run that play too, by the way.
Yeah. So I saw this, and my mind again went to Marlon Klein, right? Where it's like you're going to like. I think Michigan's wide receivers have shown improvement in blocking thus far. So like I like their chances on the outside. Like this wide receiver is doing a great job for Bama. I like their chances here and take advantage of that on the outside, right? So if they're displaying this many missed tackles and things in the secondary after the catch, at this point, Alabama's kind of abandoned the run. They didn't really go back to it all that often. This is essentially a run play. So this is how you can help spread out that defense, get those linebackers moving horizontally instead of firing at the line of scrimmage. You can still utilize your tight ends and have essentially a quasi run game through these screens to your tight end. Even get Max Bredesen out there.
Ford got thrown out the club.
He sure did.
Man.
Yeah, he
that
got
was hands to feet.
Yeah. All right. I think we're on to the Maryland game here. So this is Maryland's ball. They're up 14-0 at this point, 2nd and 10, or midway or towards the tail end here of the second quarter. And this first one, this is a positive play. All right. This was, I think, a similar sort of thing I found against Maryland. I think Maryland had a little bit more success on the ground compared to Alabama. Or maybe part of that is Maryland continued to go towards the run compared to Alabama, who kind of abandoned it. But this is kind of a man-some play here from number 17. Let me look up his name here. But I will say he's lined up against a tight end, but is this Nizzy Davis? That's
Davis.
Sorry, no, it's Darrell Peterson. He's an outside linebacker, but he's a big boy. Number 17 here on the defensive line, so he's able to fire through that tight end. Oops, sorry about that. So give him a lot of credit, and I mean that is a good play, but then on the inside, you're also winning on the defensive line. So number 66 gets shucked across here. So you got other help on the play side A gap there from your defensive lineman to clean it up if that running back isn't immediately met there. So, I mean, they have some guys, right? Like this isn't a defensive line that you're just going to steamroll. You're going to have to work for it. And I think Michigan will need to attack the perimeter. And I did see Maryland more so than Alabama have some success off tackle. Seemed like at least in the interior, it was really hard to get a lot of movement on the double teams consistently. So I saw Maryland attack more off tackle, and that's where they found some success. But this is a hell of a play, and I don't see Maryland getting like a ton of movement here on the offensive line in general that led them to a ton of success on the ground.
Yeah, they look pretty good against the run. I mean, they got, like you said, they got more than just, as we call them, Jags on the front of that front seven. They got some guys. Their linebackers identify and fire off quick. They win at the line of scrimmage a lot more. Afobe, Crippen, Jake, because I did hear that Jake has it seems like maybe locked down that starting guard position. I mean, they're going to have to fire off the ball because these guys, they're big and they move. It's one thing to be big and taking up space. They're big, taking up space, and they move to help their linebackers keep those other linemen off of them.
Yeah, that's a linebacker's best friend right there. Some big old 300+ pound guys who has some mobility to them. All right.
Yep.
This is the last play I have for Wisconsin here. 20-3. We're late in the game, fourth quarter. About 9 minutes left. 1st and 10 here. This is where your play action will bite you. House call. And the other view, I think, will show it best. Not just the linebackers have their eyes in the backfield here. Look how fast. I mean, I think this is a blitz. At least it seems to be for number 4. So number 4 is the guy I've been mentioning thus far. He's firing out immediately. Now, I do think he probably has the running back in like as his key in general. So it looks like he just kind of takes him out in general on the pass rush. But the main thing I want you to focus on here is 29. Watch the eyes of 29 and how late he is to get back in his responsibility. So he's going to stay really long on this play action in the backfield. So watch 29 here. Really late. And now, only now. So he's watching, watch, and boom, you're in trouble. Because as soon as he realizes, hey, let's play action, and his eyes dart over to number 4, guess what? Number 4 is just about even with him at this point. Maybe you have an extra yard here, but the difference is number 4 is moving at full speed, and you are just starting. So when your responsibility is middle of the field here, and we'll shift to the other view here, when your responsibility as this safety is middle of the field, and you're only starting to take off right now when this guy is just about even with you and moving fast, you lost that battle.
Yep.
And another thing that I don't really understand, at this point, you're in trouble, right? You're in trouble. You need to put your head down and hope like hell that your acceleration can get you in any sort of position to catch up. So I'll move forward a couple frames here. Where are you looking back at? You can see his eyes are starting to look back. Where are you looking? This is where you need to go. And this guy obviously has the whole open field here to redirect to. So looking back this long, that just slows you down even more. So anyway, I think this is the same safety that, took a couple poor angles against Bama. So he might be someone that you can look to attack a little bit, because it's one thing to have your linebackers pay a little bit too much attention in play action. When you have your safety who's responsible for deep middle of the field, that's an opportunity for you to exploit. So I think your comment about, doing an early play action like this, or an early play action for Bryce for a deep shot, kind of like they tried against Central Michigan. I think there's another opportunity here, both to keep the linebackers in check, but also 29, that safety.
Yep, Goodwin, Kenny Bell, Fred Moore. I mean, that's not even a crazy route. It's a go route.
Yeah, it's just straight up. That's just run. Yeah. So give me your fastest guy, right? It might be Fred Moore. I don't know who's the fastest wide receiver. I think probably Fred Moore. But yeah, throw him on a streak. See what they're going to do, right? See how they're going to react to that. You learn a lot from that initial play action, right? Like how juiced up are they? How much are they going to be playing the run?
Yep.
All right, we're at about an hour 28 here. If we want to pull up the defensive film for USC, we can do that. Any commentary you have on USC initially, Darnell?
All right, so we're not going to spend a ton of time because, of course, this was against little brother. Shout out to Michigan State. Look, they were in a absolute fight, and as much as I like to rag on Michigan State, the Michigan State defense plays this a little bit better. They probably maybe win this game. Aiden Childs was balling out, right? Receive Nick Marsh balling out. So, if they had any simulate the defense, they would be a lot better. One of the couple people that flashed for me is Jakeem Stewart. If you are familiar with the Michigan recruiting scene, that was a guy we recruited late after we got Bryce. Their DN, number 1, always seems to be making plays. I saw him kind of making plays. And then number 6, who's Anthony Lucas on the other side. Where they're weak, they're just like Wisconsin, but they're better talented.
Yeah.
Where they are weak is in their secondary.
Yep.
Question is going to be, can Michigan exploit it? Up front, they tend to be pretty stout. They do rush the passer at a good rate. I know they got home against Illinois a little bit just to get those games. And this is why I said Michigan needs to get this passing game in order against a Wisconsin, because Luke Altmaier, 20 of 26, 2 touchdowns, 328.
Yeah.
They didn't give up much on the run to Illinois. And I mean, I can't say they didn't give up much because they gave up 171. But their leading back only was averaging 4.3 a carry. They didn't give up any explosives in the run game. Longest run was 13 yards. And that was by the quarterback, Luke Altmaier. Second running back had 59 yards. So they didn't give up 100 yards to one. They gave it up 171 combined. But really their Achilles heel is their pass game. And then I know we don't have any film of it because I wasn't able to get it quick enough, but the opposite side of the ball, they got some ballers.
Yeah.
Lemon, the receiver, is a baller. He had 11 receptions for 151, 2 touchdowns, long of 59 yards against Illinois.
That was a coming out party for him.
Yep. Yeah. And then they rushed for 126. Their running back, their lead back, had 20 carries for 94 yards. And then their quarterback, 30 of 43. So they throw it a ton, right? 365 or 364 in the air, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So we're going to really be able to see who Michigan is. And that's what I was talking about when we was waiting on Toski to pop back. You win this game, everything is ahead of you.
Yeah.
Right? You beat USC, you're coming home to play a Washington team, which I've watched Washington film. I think it's a perfect matchup for Michigan.
Yeah.
And then you play a Michigan State team who you should beat, a Purdue team who you should beat, Northwestern. Maryland may give you a little bit of problem because it's on the road. And then you play at home against Ohio State. If you are 10-1 going into that Ohio State game, that is for the Big Ten, a trip to Indy. And if you lose it, even though I know we want to go 5 years in a row, if you lose it at 10-2 and your only 2 losses is out on the road against Oklahoma and at home against Ohio State, you're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%.
And to me, that's a successful season with a true freshman quarterback. So
yeah, you take that all day.
Definitely want to make sure that, we get white in this Wisconsin game, because as Toski's going to show you on a couple of these, we can score on this defense. This defense is not unscorable, but we can't have the mental mistakes we've been having, the drops, the going quick 3 and outs, because this team offensively is going to put some stress on us defensively. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Like they can score the rock.
Approaching the Wisconsin game is going to be the approaches for these 2 games are going to be very different. Where Wisconsin, if you got a 4th and 2 at the 50-yard line, you're going to punt the ball because you don't trust Wisconsin's offense to do anything. If you're going up against USC, like you said, this defense you can score on. They're an explosive defense. What I mean by that, they have some miscommunications they had against Michigan State. I saw they'll give up some gashes here and there, but I also looked at number 4, that true freshman defensive lineman. That guy has a get off of the line of scrimmage that I don't think anybody's going to be able to contend with. But they're also kind of young at the linebacker position, inexperienced there. So it's like they'll make some huge plays, some big plays, but then they'll have a miscommunication, a little bit gashed here. So they're kind of all over the place on defense, where sometimes they'll get some big negative plays, sometimes they'll make good ones. So, but it's not to your point, that offense isn't, you don't want to get in a race against these guys because they're gonna outrun you. Their offense.
That's what happened with Michigan State. They got into a race and it didn't work. The reason why it worked for Illinois is because they did exactly what Michigan do. Yeah. They ran the ball, they got up, They got them a lead, and then they played from in front. You don't want to play from behind of this USC team because I just don't think that spells good for us. Real quick, while you're going through the film, Aiden Childs went 12 of 21, 212. He had 3 TDs. They rushed for 112 yards on the ground, and their number one receiver, I gave a shout out to Nick Marsh. He only had 28 yards. I'm sorry, Omar Kelly, for disrespecting you. 6 receptions for 133. So you can throw on this team, but we can't wait until next week for our receivers to try to have a coming out party. Right. We got to establish that Saturday.
100%. All right, let's move into it. 1st and 10, ball on the 42. I think it's really funny. Just a comment on the film here. Michigan State and Michigan both use this sort of screen because they don't want to show the scoreboard, right? So it's always interesting the different footage of showing like what they want to show, what they don't, what they'll create. Like they have to create this sort of graphic. It's just really funny to me. All right, I'm sorry, this is USC, so maybe this is the footage that they give USC. But okay, here we go. Pass right away. And I like this footage because you're showing a mobile quarterback, and that's something that you could take for Bryce Underwood, how it's going to potentially work for Michigan as well. So number 4 immediately gets some pressure here. You can see right away 71 gets beat by number 4. So, and this guy just, I mean, he's a true freshman, right? This guy is just a monster. He looks terrifying. So, I mean, great get for USC. He is through the center, and Aiden Childs is on the run immediately. But you saw from the other angle, huge bust on the back end, and that's a touchdown for number 13 here. So how did this happen? I think there was a motion earlier in this play. I didn't catch it here early on, but I think there was motion. This tight end came across, I think if I remember correctly, this tight end came across here, and it looks like these guys before the snap were talking, these two. And clearly there's, something missing. There's one safety over the top, and guys were not communicating clearly at the bottom of your screen here, because it looks like this safety, for whatever reason, is headed over here, and 25 is seemingly headed into like this sort of cover 2 look, but then he's going to follow. Like, what do you do if this guy is running on a deep post? You're going to follow him on that. So it seems like there was a miss of one of these guys either should have been in man here. That's probably what the case is, where you have, man coverage here, man coverage here. Seems like man coverage here with 2 safeties over the top. But it seems like, at least on the bottom side of the screen, there was miscommunication, because you'll see both of these guys, I think, head towards the flat. I think that's what we ended up seeing here. So let's move forward a little bit. Yeah, it looks like there's just no one's following here. So, maybe this is man. It's hard to tell if he's manned up here or just heading to the flat. Seems like he's probably trying to read if this is like a wheel route here, right? And trying to meet him out here. So my guess here is this guy just dropped the ball, and he's supposed to be a man route. This guy just runs a wheel. This guy's running a clear out, and the miscommunication results in a huge touchdown pass. So, I mean, unless you're seeing consistent miscommunications like this, it's hard to get an understanding of, how applicable is this? Like, is this going to happen for Michigan? But any sort of miscommunication like that a couple games into the season is not great, right? It happens, but I think the main thing I thought of when I saw this was, I'm glad Rod Moore is back. He might not be 100% back from like a physical standpoint, might be slowed down a little bit, not the same athlete as he is just yet. I think it was a pretty devastating injury. So he's still probably working back to get in shape, things like that, to get back to complete health. But mentally, being the quarterback of the defense, that is huge. And that's going to minimize something like this happening for Michigan. And I don't know if USC has that, right? So just kind of like a parallel of like, oh man, you see a breakdown like this, and it's like, oh man, it just kind of rattles my brain a little bit. But anyway, so that's not a good start if you're USC on defense here. Okay, moving forward here later in the first quarter, 2:30 to go, and really good play from number 18. And I mean, also not a great play from this lineman for Michigan State. But I was, it's a relatively inexperienced linebacker group for USC, but I was most impressed with 18. He made a couple plays time and time again. Let me get his name right here.
Yeah, it's Eric Gentry.
Eric Gentry, yeah. And I think he's been in the program a couple years, but he hasn't. He's a redshirt senior, but I don't think he's gotten a lot of run yet. I think it's his first year starting after a couple of guys last year took off. So I mean, and he's big. He's 6'6", 225. So that's a big linebacker coming down, and that's pretty instinctual. So I like that he's able to kind of make himself small here. Obviously, this lineman for Michigan State, you'd like to see him more on the chest here, less on the shoulder. But give credit where credit's due. He's able to get past that and deliver an ankle tackle there. So there's a couple plays he made. I thought he was better of the two linebackers for USC. All right, moving on here. 10-7 here. Michigan State 2nd and 8. Start of the second quarter here. Another play from 18 here, Gentry. And again, it doesn't look like he's doing like that. He's moving that fast, but he just looks very fluid to me. His ability to come through and pick his way into the backfield is something Michigan's going to have to watch. Now, again, is this something where Michigan State had a gaffe? Probably, because to me, it doesn't make sense, this blocking scheme of why you'd have two guys going out here for Michigan State to go here and here. And then I don't know where you're releasing off the double team, right? Maybe you're expecting this guy to flow this way, and that's where you're expecting one of them to release the play side backer, because on the backside here, you have a double team and then release out to the backside backer. But this guy's essentially unaccounted for. And because he reacts so quickly to this, he's able to sneak through backside where, I think you can see this tackle for Michigan State come off of this block. He's probably looking for this linebacker to flow through here, but he reacts so quickly to it, he's able to track that down from the backside and make a play in the backfield. The other thing about this, though, is because of how quickly he's reacting, think about if Michigan State decides to do something with a tight end across the middle of the field, right? Like what I'm thinking here is, instead of doing a little play action right here, fake this, and then you're able to run with this wide receiver across here, right? With how fast this guy's coming downfield, or maybe just do a sit route right here, right? This guy's already in the backfield at the time of the handoff, right? He's already at the line of scrimmage there. So you want to talk about opportunity for play action and rolling out Bryce Underwood. This is it, when you have a linebacker coming down that quickly. So I give him a lot of credit because he's able to work through that really fluidly. Like, this is really good athleticism for him to work to the inside here and then continue on a good trajectory to get that ankle tackle. So I came away pretty impressed with him, but there are things to take advantage, like we saw against with the Wisconsin film. There are ways to punish an overly aggressive linebacker.
Yeah, good call out from Blake. You say USC just had some brutal lapses on offense and defense both of those games. So that's a good call out too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on here. 17-7 at this point. 11 minutes left. 2nd and 8 here for Michigan State. And this is where we just see this. I think there were 2 plays in a row here we'll highlight from Jakeem Stewart. But, I mean, this guy, 6'5", 290, a freshman out of Louisiana. And this was the first play, I think, in this film this film review where I was my eyebrows just kind of like really like popped out, where his get off here. I mean, you can see he kind of stutters a little bit, but he's actually off right at the snap. So he's watching the ball here, and he just flies through with reckless abandon. I mean, is this like, I wouldn't say this is composed, right? As a defensive lineman, that's not the best technique here, but I mean, this guy already scares me as a true freshman. You can see why Michigan was going after him. And his ability to get off the ball that quickly and fly by 71, that's scary stuff. So and the ability to stay up after this, right? You can see he's kind of falling forward. The ability to even make it to the backfield there, that shows some elite athleticism. So, I mean, he was a top 100 recruit as well. So, those guys don't grow on trees. So,
got 71 hands on his knees.
Yeah.
It's not where you want to be as offensive guard.
No. Looks like he's doing hopscotch, right? He's waiting for a buddy to jump over him, whatever. Leapfrog. Looks like he's setting up for leapfrog. It's not great. I can make those jokes against little brother. All right. I expect them to make same jokes for me too. But yeah, man, that's, again, like, I saw a lot of plays like this. This is the boomer bust. When this happens, that's like a 5-yard loss. That sets up your offense in a really, really tough spot. Yep. And I mean, he's just a guy you have to account for. So, like you said, you gotta jump off the ball quick against that guy. 2nd and 8. All right, later on here, and look who's in the backfield again. So this is, I think, later on. I don't know if the same drive. I think just later in the quarter. But again, the get off immediately. These guys have no chance. If you're looking at number 4 here, this guy has no chance to block him. I don't know if he goes. Nope, not quite hands on his knees that time, Darnell, but close enough. I mean, he is gone, right? So, again, that get off, he is out of his stance and through the line of scrimmage.
God bless Ohadi. I hope Ohadi's back. I don't even want to think about Ofobi having a block it.
Yeah, that's tough stuff. So, I honestly – I need to go back and watch the film again because I feel like I didn't see him a whole lot after this. I don't know if he got like tweaked or, an injury or something, but I mean, I know he's not like a true starter. At least he wasn't in this game. But I didn't see him a whole lot the rest of the game. I felt like I was looking out for him and I didn't see him as much. So I'm not sure what the deal was there, if they just like to rotate as much. So I'm not 100% sure, but he's going to get more snaps when he's flashing stuff like this because he's just making guys look silly, right? It looks like he's just teleporting into the backfield. Yeah. Like it looks like it's like, oh, was that guy offsides? Like that was my first thought of like, wow, like how did he get there that quickly? So
it looks like they tend to have him on rushing more than they do. I mean, on rushing downs more than they do on passing. Because I'm looking kind of on. He did get a fumble against. He got a fumble against Illinois, and
okay. Yeah, I really want to see him against Illinois. I remember watching that game, but I wasn't looking at the trenches as much as I was obviously for this film review. So yeah, he's a guy to watch. He's for sure someone to be careful of. Okay, at this point, I mean, 31-10. Yeah, things just got a little out of hand here. Quarter 3, 11 minutes left here. Nice QB keep. Again, I watched this and I'm like, oh, this is where Michigan can beat this defense a little bit. And the main thing I'm looking at here is how much you're affecting the second level with the play action. Again, there's a lot of ways you can punish a defense. Play action is a great one. You can see just a little bit of this action here. You already have 31. You have 23 already firing down. And you have even the third level, right, the safety. This guy is never blocked, but because of this play action, you're getting his momentum taken out, and you like that battle for Aiden Childs. I like that battle for Bryce Underwood as well. And look at the momentum. Only now, right now, does 24 realize, hey, quarterback has the ball, and the momentum is already taking Aiden Childs full speed, and he has to redirect and try to meet him out there. So great opportunity for Michigan to utilize those wheels for Bryce Underwood. Doesn't take a whole lot from a blocking perspective. right? Like this is just just what misdirection can create for your mobile quarterback. So this is something just that I'll continue to watch, in other film that I watch of USC, but something that you should look to attack if you're Michigan. I don't think Michigan can afford to not run Bryce Underwood, both because of how explosive he is and what it does to open up the rest of your run game. Right now, when you are starting to flash this, that's going to open up everything else, because 23, he's going to think twice moving forward, right? It'd be nicer if he's able to be backside to discourage, if there's any cutback lane or anything like that. It just opens up so much more when you establish your quarterback as a runner, especially when you're talking about second and third level of the defense. So, okay, moving on. We got like 3 more plays here, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you guys for coming to join. Throw a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next week, obviously, for the real game, but we're prepping. Darnell got this footage ready to go, and doing some scouting. Now I like this because I feel I never feel as prepared as I used to going into games. So now I can look at this and be like, okay, like I know what I'm actually looking for. I know how to know what to look for. So this is good stuff.
It'll make you also figure out like what type of game are you. If you're seeing the same people flashing on the game you're watching, you're like, oh, buddy,
they're gonna pop up more.
Yeah, we're gonna have a long day at the office.
Yep. Now I haven't shown like a whole lot of footage of like Michigan State. They were able to Aiden Childs did have a game, and he was able to complete some passes. I thought they were going after number 17 a little bit here, but he seemed very physical at the top of your screen here. Seemed like, he did get called for pass interference here. So I'll need to watch a little bit more. I got the sense that these cornerbacks were playing super physical all game long. Other thing to mention here, you do have number 4 in pass protection. I was pretty impressed with Michigan State's pass protection overall. I think they kept them relatively clean, Aiden Childs. You do have number 1 flashing off the edge here late a little bit, but this is a longer developing route that Aiden Childs is able to get out relatively clean. Looking for back shoulder. Obviously, that's pass interference. Guy's got a fistful of shoulder right there if you're a USC cornerback there. So anyway, something I noticed, it seemed like they were throwing towards 17 quite a bit. We'll see, in future watches if what's his name? You got DeCarlos Nicholson. Great name there. I think he was from Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, and then he went to Mississippi State. So I think he's a transfer guy for USC. So yeah, I think we might have another play with him. Actually, I'm not sure we do, but anyway, whenever I see a guy overly physical like this, it's something that in other games I'll watch and be like, are they continuing to target that, right? Because if you get that sense that when they're on one-on-one coverage, they tend to be physical, that's a great opportunity for a back shoulder throw like this, because that is about the most pass interference type of throw that you can ever throw. So yeah, something to watch of like how are position coaches at a certain school teaching their cornerbacks. And that's something where I think a school can get a reputation, and the more a guy is called for something, I think there's a tendency for refs to watch that play moving forward as well. So that's something I'll be looking at number 17 for, especially against Michigan. All right, 2 more plays. I mentioned number 18, the linebacker I did like. I thought the other linebacker for USC was a little bit tentative, and I'm going to call him out. There's 2 plays here, number 23. So I liked 18. I wasn't the biggest fan of 23. I think he was, the word that kept coming to my head here was tentative, and that's not something that you really want from a linebacker. And that guy is Desmond Stevens. Unfortunate, his last name is Stevens, and I'm going to be roasting him here. But he's out of Clarkston High School, so kind of in my neck of the woods here in Michigan. But when I say tentativeness, what do I mean by this? When you see what's going on here from the offensive line, there's a couple keys here. you had the motion going off towards this side. So that's one thing that's working against you. And linebackering is hard. All right. So let me just get that out of the way. It's hard to be a linebacker. The other thing, you see a bunch of linemen going off this way, right? So that's another key. So you have the motion going this way, a bunch of linemen going this way, but you also have number 12 coming across here. So number 23 is probably caught between that because it looks like you're potentially handing off here, but he's probably also keeping in mind, oh, what if he keeps it, right? And I might need to react to the quarterback keeping there. So you can see the initial reaction 23 following those linemen. Then he probably notices number 12 here going across. He's like, oh, do I have to get that? And now he's like, oh, no, the ball was handed off. But because of that inaction, he's kind of set himself up for that block. It takes some time for 58 to get out to him, and he's assisted that lineman in that block, and that forms that left side of that hole for the running back because of that indecisiveness, right? So I don't know exactly what his key is necessarily. I'm not 100% sure here. But based on what you have backside, you have number 10, right? You have this defensive end who should be able to take on any block coming here. And then you also have this other linebacker, number 18, right? So I think if you're the middle linebacker here, you should follow the play here of what the offensive line is telling you and trust that you have what you need backside in order to deal with any potential keep here. That's just my case, or I'm making my case for why 23 might have misplayed this. I could be totally off, but that's just what I'm reading from that. I think the other thing, this angle doesn't show it quite as well, but when you're trying to make a play like this, you usually want to be working towards the line of scrimmage at this point if you're a linebacker, right? By staying 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage like this, you are just setting yourself up. You have no momentum to take on any blocks. So by moving just side to side like he is, he's making 58's job really easy to pick up that block. So I kind of get it of like you want to, be sure that you're here backside for any sort of cutback for the quarterback. If the quarterback's going to keep this, you want to make sure that you have additional support here. But anyway, tentativeness in either direction for a linebacker is dooming yourself to be blocked by an offensive lineman. That's exactly what happens. So that's just one play.
They give Justin Haynes that type of lane to get up on that safety is going to be a scary sight for that safety.
100%. Yeah.
We see what he do when he gets to the open field like that. Because he gets up on you quickly.
Yeah. These are sort of plays where, I don't dislike the Michigan State running back, but and maybe not this play, but in general, once you get to the safety level, Justice Haynes is a home run hitter, and he's shown time and time again to make safeties miss. So I'm not sure if this play especially, but in other plays like that could spell doom for USC's secondary for sure. Okay, 31-10 here, and this is another play where, at this point, that last play I watched, and I was like, not sure about that linebacker play. And this is another one where, again, not working towards the line of scrimmage if you're 23, and he was just out of position here. So, he did get back and try to make a tackle, so I give him some credit here, but I don't know. Tentativeness as a linebacker is tough to, I don't know. It's tough for me to swallow. And I'm not sure if that's like 100% his fault here, because I also think this defensive end should be coming down the line of scrimmage, and that could really blow up this play. So I do think it's a tough play for him. So for him to be able to work back towards this and try to make an arm tackle, I'll give him some credit. But because this is a nice cutback. So actually, you know what? I'm not going to put this on 23. All right, I'll give him a break here. I think this is more on the backside of number 6 here, because he's banking off of this being play action. He's banking off this being a fake and trying to blow up the quarterback. when in reality, you should be coming down the line here, breaking down, right? Start shuffling this way and close down because you're getting good penetration here. This penetration is ultimately what forces this guy to cut back. If you're working your way down the line of scrimmage here, guess what? You're going to meet this guy at the cutback and decleat the guy. So that defensive end needs to do a little bit better. That's pretty undisciplined football. I can't imagine that anyone else would have outside contain just based on where this defensive lineman is going. It looks like he's firing up here in between these two offensive linemen. So it seems like someone else has that outside, that D gap, right, to the outside of this guy right here. And to me, that seems like it has to be him working down the line of scrimmage. So this is why I kind of called it like an explosive defense, because you'll have plays from, from number 18 or number 4 that I really like out of their defense, but then you'll have a big bust like this. Like all you need right here is one block right here, and that's a touchdown. And if Justice, again, to your point, Darnell, Justice Haynes gets this, he's probably going to find a way to the end zone here. So there's opportunities to run on this team because I see a lot of mental mistakes here on not playing your keys appropriately. And although I think this defense is probably more athletic than Wisconsin's, they're not as disciplined. They don't play as a unit as well. So I think they are a boom or bust kind of defense, and I think Michigan can find some success against them.
Yeah, which speaks more to what Blake said about some lapses on defense and offense.
Yeah.
I'll be interested. I did upload for you for your leisure to watch Purdue.
Okay.
I don't believe I have their offense. I'd have to check. But I know I have the defense. I did upload the Illinois game, offense and defense. So that way you can kind of look at that on your leisure. But before we get out of here, just want to throw up some food for thought. So against Power 4 quarterbacks, which outside of the USC and Altmaier kid, you can have your own opinion of where you think Bryce rates. Ryan Brownie, 24 of 39, threw for 305. They did lose, but he threw for 300 yards. Aiden Childs, 12 of 21 to 12. They kind of played from behind. And then Luke Altmaier, 20 of 26, 328, 2 touchdowns. Okay. So Power 4 quarterbacks are throwing average 250, 275. That's what I would expect to see from Bryce. I would tell you that the Luke Altmaier game could be more of what a Bryce game could look like because they still ran the ball. They actually still ran the ball more than they passed it. They threw it for 27. They ran it for 35. That's a Michigan game.
100%.
Right? 171 yards on the ground, 328 in the pass, which is why I've been stressing all night. Look, Wisconsin, we know what we can do on the ground. I want to see if the receivers took the bye week seriously. If we can pass the ball and get Bryce into a rhythm, I'm going to feel a whole heck of a lot better going into USC because that team can be passed on.
Yeah.
And if that team can be passed on, it's a great day for us because that opens the offense. So appreciate all of you guys for hopping in with us. I know we had a ton of people on Twitter. I was monitoring the amount. I know we were on Facebook, we were on Twitch, we were on YouTube, we was everywhere. We appreciate all you guys. The best way you guys can support the stream is what Toski said: like, subscribe, share. This is something that we plan on doing the rest of the year. We just want to see how this looks with the Maize and Blue review. We've been getting some positive reactions and reviews from that. So that should continue. And the other thing I want to do before we get out of here is just shout out Trevor and Josh and the Maize and Blue review. They are dropping a ton of articles daily. Ethan just dropped an article over there. Josh, Trevor. There's a lot of stuff going on in the recruiting world. Shout out to Charles Woodson Jr. Just was crystal ball to Michigan. We got some big recruits on campus this week. Shout out to Dakota Garant, who is top receiver in 2027. So this is somebody that you're going to want to play with. Bryce's last year, 5-star guy. Everybody's after him, top 100. So lock in with them. Trevor did say it is $1 for the first 7 days. So you can try it out for $1, see if the value makes sense. And then it's $9.99 a month. And I promise you guys, we spend $9.99 on a cup of coffee. It is very much so worth it. You get you get the Maize and Blue review access, and then you also will have access to read the articles over at On3. So appreciate you guys for pulling up. Toski, you got anything else for us tonight before we close it out?
You killed it, man. No, go subscribe. Throw a subscription on the YouTube channel. Throw a like if you're on Facebook. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming out.
Go Blue.
Go Blue, guys.